Now they begging for a fight. Now they want to fight me now. I don't sell, so there's no need for you to even mention my name no more. Don't say Terrence Crawford.
But in the same token, Jaron Ennis had a
Cause he a hater.
Nah, you think so? You think he had something to do with it?
Hater. Cause he a hater.
Crawford has been called out by Jaron Ennis several times, and the boxer promised Crawford a knockout in a recent live show. Boots made it clear right away after Crawford beat Canelo that he wasn't pleased, and he's kept that attitude with him in every fight since. Boots said that Crawford did not meet the criteria for being one of the best fighters of all time. When asked if Crawford should now be thought of such, he said that Roy Jones Jr., Floyd Mayweather, Pernell Whitaker, and Sugar Ray Leonard come to mind when he thinks of great boxers. These are the guys he looks at and puts at the top of the list. Crawford just isn't good enough. Because of that comment, many pros have called him a hater and given enough reasons to make this the next fight. Let me catch up.
End it, but don't lie or cap to the net and make it seem like I had the opportunity to fight you and I didn't. I never did. You know what I'm saying? And then that one time that I did, we said they called and we said we never heard nothing else back about it. So right. I mean, I respect it though. I mean, get your money. You know what I'm saying? Do your thing, but don't be capping on the net.
Boots didn't give Crawford a lot of praise even after he beat Canelo in one of the biggest fights of his career. In fact, his first reaction was short and strong. He called it a great win, but he made another movie after that in which he said he fell asleep during the fight.
Going at it, though, I wanted to fall asleep. I'm like, yo, I can't stay up no longer. I just wanted to fall asleep.
A lot of fans saw that as disrespectful, but that's exactly how Ennis has treated Crawford's name. He doesn't want it to look like he's trying to get close to him by being nice. He wants to look like the hungry warrior who can see right through Crawford. He also wants people to know that he doesn't believe Crawford is safe.
Come on, man. Boots had a chance to fight me. Virgil Ortiz had an opportunity to fight me, but now everybody, I fight Terrence, I'm this, I'm that. I'm like, okay, cool. When y'all had y'all opportunity, y'all went elsewhere. But now that y'all see I'm the ticket, now y'all like, oh yeah, we want to fight Terrence Crawford. We want Terrence.
What's interesting is that Crawford has turned down Ennis's offer to fight. When asked if he would meet Boots at 150 for after Canelo's win, Crawford said no, he wasn't going down, and he wouldn't fight Ennis. That answer only made Boots more angry, because now he can point at Crawford and say that he is trying to avoid the baby lion. Crawford has a 42-2-0 record, but Boots also hasn't lost and is on track for a similar mark. The senior makes it clear that he won't fight the new generation, which is easy for Ennis to understand and throw back at him.
That makes a whole lot of sense, and a fight that stylistically would be, oh my goodness, is a fight between Terrence Crawford and Jaron Boots Ennis.
I think that's going backwards for Terrence.
To that point, Jaron doesn't have the kind of accolades. He doesn't sell to the mass and all these. So this fight was perfect timing for both these guys.
After all of this back and forth, Eddie Hearn added his own pressure by calling Ennis the new Crawford and saying he wants to match the two to show it. Hearn has also said that because he knows how dangerous the fight is, it would take a lot of money to get Crawford to agree. That's the point where Boots has been going around in his own way. Crawford shouldn't be scared of Ennis if he really thinks he is the best.
He didn't see him go to another level yet. He just went to a little bit. He got so much more in his bag, man.
Can you explain what you mean by another level?
Another level when somebody gonna give him a real hard fight.
Yeah.
He made that fight look easy.
He definitely did.
You know what I mean? And that's what I'm talking about. You want to see him into a real tough fight, then you're gonna see something else come out of him.
Okay, since you're speaking on tough fights, I did an interview with Eddie Hearn.
But Hearn's thoughts come from what everyone can see. Canelo was older and not at his best when Crawford beat him, but it was his biggest win. And it looked like the fight was more of a planned matching activity and a real test. Eddie says that Boots is different. He's young, alive, and quick. He isn't not steady, and getting older hasn't slowed him down. It's not possible for Crawford to run around the ring 12 times and still win on close cards. Hearn and Ennis both think they would cut the ring and stop him.
Like watching now.
Terrence Crawford, one of my favorites to watch now. I love Terrence Crawford, and I like to watch NUA too. NUA can fight. And you know who else I like to watch though? I like to watch Boots.
Oh, okay.
Boots, yeah.
I love watching Boots. Boots got game. People don't understand Boots got game. You know what I'm saying? Every now and then he messes on the defense a little bit, but Boots got game.
Boots versus Terrence Crawford.
Now, Boots hasn't proven himself enough to tell me for me to say that he gonna beat Terrence Crawford, because Terrence Crawford still.
Bernie Davis, Crawford's teacher, has also said that Boots is still learning. Davis told me that Ennis has had more than 30 fights, but hasn't faced a truly great opponent yet. He said Boots' latest opponents have not been at the top of the food chain. He also told him that instead of setting records against weaker opponents, he should face real people. That insult to Boots was meant to honor Crawford's memory. This caused more trouble, though, because Crawford's career at age 28 was almost the same.
Crawford says, you know, show me the money. And I'm like, well, Crawford, you're the A side. You're supposed to show Boots Ennis the money. That's the funny part about it. You keep telling Ennis to go get the money. You go get the money. You're the A side. Ain't that how this works? In boxing, the A side is the one.
He was fighting older people who were past their best. Just like Ennis, Crawford lost all of his fights with Ricky Burns, Ray Beltran, Yurkis Gamboa, and Bryce Prescott. He wasn't known as Victor Pozol until he was 29 years old. The fact that Crawford's team says Ennis hasn't fought anyone is kind of funny, which is exactly why Boots keeps firing back with confidence.
What's the fight, or who's the dance partner that makes Boots a star?
Right now, I don't even know anybody, for real, you know, and anybody that got a big name.
Got you. Got you. But there's no exact guy that you think about? Because I don't want to ask you, hey, this guy, that guy. I know you get those questions a lot. So if you had to say, hey, this is the guy I think, you know, we would have a big fight, who would it be? Because it doesn't seem like the Crawford fight would happen. So what's that dance partner?
But Boots doesn't just rely on what Crawford's team says about his background. The way he frames the whole case makes his own points clear. By not putting Crawford on his own list of greats, he shows the difference between recognizing a good champion and recognizing brilliance. He showed what he thought about real talent when he said that he admired Roe Jones, Floyd, Pernell, and Leonard. Speed, strength, and fights with big players. Besides that, he doesn't see the same traits in Crawford. He also doesn't think that beating an older Canelo or Madrimov will put him in that group.
Sparred over a decade ago, no one's been a bigger Terrence Crawford believer than Tim Bradley.
Right.
And so Tim still picks Terrence to beat Boots, still picks Terrence to beat Canelo, but as he continues to assess things, and this is how I felt for a while, is that it's a little similar, not quite all the way the same, but it's a little similar to the Canelo.
Promoters, like Hearn, are already talking about the money side of things. Crawford is backed by Turki Alalshik, who has spent a lot of money to make Warren famous. Putting him up against Boots could go horribly wrong, because if Crawford loses, the whole plan falls apart. Now Hearn isn't sure if Turki would even let the fight happen.
Crawford against Jaron Ennis, for me, is the best fight in American boxing. But it needs to be a payday for Crawford that would get him interested, because Crawford knows how good Boots is. And I'm not saying that Crawford thinks he's going to lose to Boots, but he knows that is...
He said that Crawford's fight with Canelo was like cleaning up an old shrine. It looked like gold, but it was really just smoke and mirrors. On the other hand, Boots is a real test, and Crawford would have to be offered a huge reward to even think about it. That tells you what professionals think about Ennis. They know he's a threat. They are sure that he can beat Crawford, and that fight could change the balance of the sport in the US.
Yes, both of them knocked out David Evanesian while David Evanesian was swinging.
But look, the thing about Boots is he's staying in there. Oh, no.
Taking it up the gears. Nice.
Oh! What a...
That's what you do. They both were willing to get hit to hit.
Ennis has made it clear that he wants to become the next big thing, and Crawford is the peak he wants to reach. Boots talks about Crawford even when he doesn't want to fight, because that's how you keep the heat on. He knows that saying he would knock Crawford out and telling people over and over that he's not pleased keeps his name in the news. However, Crawford's reluctance to see him as a real opponent makes it seem like he is trying to avoid him. Fans notice and start to wonder why the young boxer who has never lost is going after the older winner. But the older winner says no.
At the end of the day, y'all gonna have to see Boots. And we can't wait. I can't wait.
Why you rubbing your stomach?
I'm gonna be right there.
You get to 154, you ain't coming the fuck back down.
He might do something strange for a piece of change that make me come back down.
He might say, man, remember when you was on the show and you was talking that shit and I said that I was gonna beat your ass and I want to fight you? What you doing up there? And I'm gonna be like, Here I come.
The fact that Ennis has a resume that is similar to Crawford's at the same age doesn't change because of the criticism from Crawford's side. While he was still on his training wheels, people could tell him he needs to take them off. The only difference was that Crawford got the right push at the right time. His matchmakers put him up against fighters who looked like killers, even though those fighters were past their best. He doesn't have that exact push yet, but he has the same skills and track record. That's why Hearn is pushing him so hard. As the new Crawford, he sees the same path, but this time Boots is more athletic and might do better than Crawford.
So people don't understand. He can box and he's smart.
Yes.
He don't waste no punches, man. He don't waste no punches. And he's really smart, man, when it comes to that boxing game. But it was me and I'm training him.
Yeah.
I would have him frustrating Canelo. What I would do with him.
After the fight with Canelo, it's easier for Ennis to become a challenger because everyone in boxing was asking if Crawford had made his name indelible. But it's possible that going up against Crawford is the big money fight, and if Boots can get the fight and win it, he will undo a lot of what Crawford has done. And the first step is to call him out.
Who punches harder, Jaron Boots Ennis or Terrence Bud Crawford? Jaron's shots seem to be more thumping and more like a whip, where they come out kind of wider. Jaron also twists his whole body behind each shot, gets a lot of leverage. Terrence Bud Crawford's shots seem to be shorter, and he gets more of that shoulder snap.
But Boots has been called a hater because of what he said about Terrence Crawford beating Canelo. Trainer Brian Norman Sr. was the only one who told it like it was. They asked him a simple question. They asked him what he thought about the show and what he did. "What do you think? It's boxing," the man said. "Why don't you just give him his props? Are you having trouble with anyone else? Brother, you hate." He clearly doesn't like him. Frank Militello told Mill City Boxing, "He didn't stop there. You told him Canelo would hit him hard," she said. "You're a hater," pointing out that Ennis had backed Canelo before the fight and wouldn't back down after Crawford won. Because it seemed so cold. Ennis's one-word response, "It's boxing," has been played over and over. Other fighters and coaches thought Crawford's win was historic, and they thought Ennis's decision not to fight was an act of jealousy. Norman thought that telling Boots that Crawford did a good job didn't take away from her own performance, but Boots chose to be short and rude instead. From Norman's point of view, that is not honesty, it is hate. But the way Ennis handled the problem fits with how he normally acts. There was no way he was going to lie and say he didn't think the fight was amazing.
What we know?
I know everything.
I don't know nothing. I'm trying to find out what I know. Enlighten me.
What you mean enlighten me? You for Devanese and you could have for me.
You jumped up out of my sanctioned body to go fight in the IBF. So what I know?
What you mean?
What you mean? What I mean? Would you rank that in the WBA or not?
Yo, it don't even matter. Yo,
all right, catch up, little homie. Catch up, then. If it don't matter, catch up.
Yo, he picked.
Crawford moved around a lot and fought on his back foot. As Canelo slowed down, Crawford won the last few rounds. It was never really like Crawford stood in front of Canelo. He worked in some places and went around them, jabbling them. Ennis doesn't fight that way and doesn't think that way about it either. He thought it looked like Shocker Stevenson, put safety first. Don't have any big moments or knockdowns. Ennis thinks that's not something that deserves high praise. So when Norman or other people say he should have said something nice, Boots doesn't agree.
Crawford done been in the big stage against big fighters so many times. And also with age, he didn't beat up his body, so his age is actually good. He got the grown man strength. He not just grown man strength, but he built on top of that. Like look at him at 135. He was a little scrawny dude. He wasn't a big dude. Now look at him. He ripped up everything. He's strong. So sure. I feel like he got everything. All this.
Crawford's team, on the other hand, has made it clear that they have no interest whatsoever. After Canelo won, Brian Bomack McIntyre was asked what he thought the next step should be. "No. We're not going to fight," was his answer. "We're not going to leave the belts. No, after a minute of sitting where we need to. We'll go back to the gym and do our thing." He said this when asked about David Benavidez and Jaron Ennis. This means that Crawford has no plans to talk to either of them next. They want to take a break and come back when they're ready. In that case, Ennis is looking for a fight that the other side says isn't happening. "No, I will not fight Jaron Ennis. I am not going down to 154. Crawford had already said, That line made everything clear. Boots are not going to happen. It's in the ad. So, when Ennis says things like, "It's boxing," he's telling the truth and knowing that Crawford doesn't want to fight him. There's no reason for him to act like a friend of someone who has said, in public, that he won't give him the chance. The names of the people around Crawford now show how far apart he really is from Ennis. David Benavidez has been brought up, especially since he has fought at both super middleweight and light heavyweight. Fans said he looked like Crawford, but Bomac shut them up. Also, Jan Bikalam Kanulai has spoken out and asked Crawford to 160. He tweeted, "If Crawford agreed to fight me, I would gladly face him, and our fight would be the kind of match every fan would watch with excitement, not wanting to miss a single second." Crawford could fight Alam Conley, Iris Londila, and Carlos Adams for the middleweight title if he moved up in weight class. That's a different road from Boots. What about the Tur battle? It's getting old for me to answer questions about it. He's already told me a million times that he won't fight me or even look at me. I'm just sick of answering their questions, and if a fight starts, it will happen. Actually, I wanted that to happen, but even if it didn't, Crawford has already made history by being the first male fighter to go unbeaten in 3 different weight classes during the 4-belt era. He is now in a situation where every choice he makes after that is about leaving a legacy instead of proving himself to others. His team has made it clear that he can quit or get heavier to try to win a 4th title without being beaten.
Right now in my career, a lot of people like boost this, boost that, boost this. You know, fighting Boots is a lose-lose situation. You know, I win, they're gonna say, "Oh well, he was young, he wasn't ready." You know, he was talented, he was skillful, but you got the experience over him. You got, you know, so much.
For Terrence Bud Crawford.
For a fight, yes. You know, just because I know where his skill level's at. And it's about skill in there. You know what I'm saying? It's not always about who's the biggest puncher. Sometimes it's about just, you know, having the skill and the ring generalship in there. So I do think he's ready to step in there with the best of the best. It's just
for them. Someone like Jaron Boots, Ennis isn't even brought up in the talk. When asked about a possible fight with Chris Eubank Jr., Crawford's manager Brian Bomac McIntyre made it clear that the choice was Crawford's, but he didn't think the idea was likely. Next up is Terrence. After this, he can do anything he wants. I don't have to, but I do not want to see that at all. Fight with Eubank Jr., that's not going to happen. That's not something I want to see. It was clear from the take that Crawford's team has no interest in welterweights, especially younger ones like Ennis. They are thinking about bigger stars, more money problems, or maybe even ending the book for good. It's not fair, but that's how the game works, bro. Trust me, this game is more about business than sports. What do you do when you have plans? How do you get that look? You want to fight someone who will join you in the ring to get the most out of your money. Make the most of what you have. Don't worry about what the other guy gets. Do something. People have forgotten about him. Just go after it. What that does is make things hard for Boots. His comments stand out more because he can't get close to Crawford other than through words. Trainer Brian Norman Sr. thinks that Ennis's position is based on pure hate. Because Ennis didn't praise Crawford's win over Canelo. Instead, he downplayed it. Crawford isn't even in the running for a fight, so Ennis doesn't see any reason to respect him. Crawford is not one of the all-time greats, as he has already said. The only thing Crawford said about beating Canelo was, "It's boxing." He calls this honesty instead of hatred. Norman Sr. doesn't believe it, though. That's why he told the truth. Clearly, he hates him. What do you think? Please write what you think below. And sign up to get updates in the future.